Hey, it's Timmy here for a relationship tip, a thought, a reflection, a challenge. First, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to my videos. I've been getting lots of comments, emails, texts, and feedback, and gosh, it's just awesome. I've really enjoyed putting these out, and sometimes it's a real challenge. I'll be honest. I've been trying to do one pretty much every day, but sometimes I have early appointments and that take me through the day, and then by the time I get to the end of the day, I'll be honest, I'm a little spent, and so I like doing these. I record these in the morning. That just works for my body for me to do things in the morning. Once it's past 4 or 5 o'clock, and I've just been working with a lot of people and doing a lot of things, it's just not conducive. The video I would get frustrated a lot quicker trying to make sure that I'm getting my points across and getting the material out like I want it to be out. All right, so I posted on Facebook recently some statistics, some research that I heard from the Gottman Institute that I thought was fascinating. And they talked about how 69% of all relationship issues were perpetual issues, meaning that those issues were a part of the relationship and would be a part of the relationship. And I thought that was fascinating. There were some other statistics that the Gottmans brought out that I thought I really want to take some time to cover these and talk about these in my videos moving forward, for sure. So another thing that they talked about is the number one reason for divorce. The number one reason for divorce is that couples grow apart. A lot of reasons for that. That's what this video is going to be about, how to not grow apart, how to make sure that you grow together. And then the other statistic that I found just fascinating is the number one leading cause of divorce is couples grow apart. Growing apart leads to loneliness, and loneliness was the number one reason for infidelity or affairs or cheating. I found that information just really fascinating and intriguing. Because when I reflect on relationships, you've got to look at not just the relationship. Obviously, anytime you're dealing with any kind of a relationship issue, you always have to go within. You have to look within and figure out where you are, what your trauma might be. Even if, when we talk about big T trauma, sexual abuse, physical abuse, even maybe emotional abuse. And then there's lesser traumas, if you will, where if your parents got divorced when you were younger, etc. In other words, you were loved and you were cared for, but yet there were some things that would be considered trauma. So always, anytime there's a relationship issue between two people that are in a relationship, always first go within. You got to go within. What from my past is being triggered? What from my past makes me feel this way when talked to this way or treated this way or looked at this way or whatever? You just got to go in and look at to see where you're being tripped up or triggered or whatever. Okay, because you can't control another person, right? I was watching some marital advice and studying some stuff recently about communication, and I found they weren't talking about this portion of it, but they were giving these examples of how communication should go. And I thought to myself, well, yeah, it does work great if both you and your partner are emotionally secure, emotionally mature, healthy individuals that know how to communicate. and therefore I can communicate to them, they listen, they confirm that they're understanding me, and vice versa. I listen to them, I confirm I understand, right? I mean, that's the perfect scenario for a great relationship, is where communication is heard, and then communication is heard. It's like, let's just be honest. Anytime there's any kind of issues in a relationship, it's one of those things is off, right? And you can communicate in such a way that whatever, it doesn't matter how you communicate. That person, what they hear is what they hear. And this is why, have you ever, well, I'm going to ask this question, but I know the answer. Of course you have, is the answer. But have you ever met someone and you just really connected with them? Like right off the bat, you just like you got each other, you just felt familiar with each other. There was this sense of camaraderie. You know what I mean? Like you liked them, right? And they say that often that's because that person is similar to you. Well, it makes total sense, right? You're getting along with someone because why? There's a compatibility piece. And I'm not even talking romantically. This could just be friendship-wise. But you meet someone and you just hit it off with them, right? I want to hang out with this person. But we've also have met people that we didn't connect with. And as soon as they even started talking, it just rubbed us wrong, right? And you know what I mean? It was just so disjointed. Come on. Can we be honest, right? We've all met people like that. We've all met those people that we instantly connected with, we just gelled with. We were like, man, I'd like to be their friend, right? I'd like them to be my friend. But then we've also met those people that were like, yeah, no. I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to hang out with you. I'm not interested in learning more about you. And listen, that's not being an a-hole or whatever. That's just the way it is, okay? That's the way it is. So, but translate that. Just think about this for a minute. Translate that into a relationship, right? And many of you maybe have been divorced or you've broken up from a long-term relationship. What was the problem? You probably just couldn't see eye to eye, right? I mean, there might have been some betrayal and some other things, symptoms of the not getting along, right? And when I say not getting along, that doesn't just mean that you fight. Like people that just fight all the time, that's not a sign that they don't get along. The people just might not get along, like just period. Meaning they just, they say it's up, you say it's down, they say it's blue, you say it's black. They say it's right, you say it's left. I mean, what's that? What is that? That's two people that just aren't compatible. And so, the unfortunate reality of life is that possibly you are married to someone or in a relationship with someone that you're just not super compatible with. And it sucks. It sucks because no one wants to get divorced. No one wants to break up. I don't want that for anyone. I tell people all the time, I'm not in favor of divorce. If you can make it work, do everything you can to make it work. But sometimes divorce is the very best thing. And I know that is just, I'm going to get some comments, I would assume, as I say that. Because some people believe that there's, under no circumstances is divorce a good idea. And that's just, to me, that's not reality, right? That's not reality. The reality is, yeah, you could have maybe married the wrong person. You could have married someone that's not a good fit. And many of you can attest to this example. You've been in relationships that went bad, and then you got into a relationship that was like, oh, right? It was just like beautiful. It's like they got you, you got them. It's like you were just always jinxing each other, as they say. What is that? Well, you just happened to meet someone that you were more compatible with. Now, granted, if you met someone you were super compatible with and then later you weren't, see, that's you grew apart in some way, people change over time. There's all these different factors. Sometimes people, they thought they were compatible in the beginning because their the compatibility piece was around a certain thing, meaning they were young in high school, or they went to college together and they partied together, and there was an attraction there, there was chemistry there, and so people think, well, my gosh, that's my person, that's my soulmate. And then as they they got married young, and as they got older, they became hopefully more mature, they grew in a certain way, they kind of came into their own. And if people come into their own in different spots, all of a sudden they're missing each other. And listen, it's complicated. It's very simple, but it's also complicated. That's why I love working with singles. I love telling them, or I love working with singles, because I'm like, listen, you can't even just trust me when I say how important it is to be with someone that you're compatible with. And when I say compatible, I don't mean that you're twinsies. They're outgoing, I'm outgoing. They like blue, I like blue. Okay, whatever, that's fine. But that's not when I say compatible, what I mean by that is compatible in life. Do our lives fit together? And when I say that, I mean lifestyle, beliefs, worldview, even political beliefs. You can be with someone that has a different political view than you, of course. It's not about being samesies. It's not like we're twinsies here. I'm not saying that you have to be twins, but do our lives fit together? Again, big ticket items, right? If you're super religious, well, it would be best if you're with someone religious, because then you can share in that religious commonality, this compatibility around religious. Or if you're spiritual, it's good to share that spiritual connection. If you're athletic, it's good to connect over being athletic and active. If you're a health nut, you're into eating right, it would be good to connect with someone who also shares in that eating lifestyle. If you're active, if you like travel, there's certain lifestyle, big issues, if you will, that I really think the compatibility piece is just huge. So, so I'm rewinding. So that's when I'm talking to singles. I'm like, listen, make sure you get with someone that your lives fit together, okay? And even when you do that, I'm sure there's stories out there, people that are like, well, we were so compatible in the beginning and it changed later. And it sucks, man. I don't even know what to say, except it just sucks. So what can you do if you're in a relationship, okay? You're married, you're in a committed partnership, whatever. How can you give yourselves the best shot at growing together over the years rather than growing apart? And this is, I've done other videos that I've talked about this briefly and I've mentioned this, but connection points, rituals of connection, making sure that you're spending time in dialogue, very open and honest dialogue, whether that's coffee in the morning together, whether that's doing breakfast together, whether that's cooking meals together at night. There's just, there's all these different rituals of connection, but also weekly check-ins, making sure that you're doing dates and weekly check-ins with each other. How you doing? What's going on? How all these things. You're doing this daily, but you're also doing weekly. And also, it's important to maybe once a quarter to do real check-ins, like, how am I doing? How do you feel? How do you feel in our marriage? How do you feel with our sex life? How do you feel with, really open and honest conversations of, hey, how do you feel and where are you at? And then fourthly, whatever, is vacations. Every year, doing vacations together. Okay, and I kind of throw those out there, but I want to bring something up that came to my mind as my wife and I were watching a lecture about marriage and communication and all this stuff. We found it so intriguing. We kept stopping the video because I said to myself, or I said to my wife, I said, when you and I communicate with each other, we're so compatible that, when I'm communicating to you, you're listening and you're clarifying that you're hearing me right, and vice versa, and we just get each other. And so it makes our communication just so easy because we got so lucky that we are actually very compatible. So it's easy to communicate. So here's what when we paused this show or paused this lecture, I was telling my wife, I said, but what about when it's not like that? When you don't get your partner, you don't get the way their brain works, and you don't see things eye to eye, right? Like, what do you do when one person's very clean and tidy and the other person's very messy? How do you reconcile that? Goodness gracious, that is the magic, right? That's because sometimes it can't. That goes back to that statistic that I mentioned at the beginning of this video. The 69% of all relationship issues are perpetual. You got to live with them. Like, you got to live with those perpetual differences. Again, why I tell singles, make sure you can fit your lives together. Otherwise, this issue will be a perpetual issue throughout your entire relationship. So if you want all those different issues to be in your relationship, you better figure that crap out when you're dating. You know, you better figure that out in the beginning, because if you want 69% of the issues that you face in your relationship to be perpetual, when you're dating someone, I tell this to singles all the time, if you're dating someone and there's something that kind of bothers you, when you get married, it will really bother you. Okay, it will more than bother you. It will drive you literally insane. It'll drive you batty. In the beginning, you maybe think it's cute. Trust me, later you won't find it cute at all. It'll be a huge frustration. Again, compatibility. Do our lives fit together? Because listen, nobody wants to feel like they're losing their life, they're losing their identity in a relationship. And I've heard this from people before that just say, you know what, I thought these things were just little issues when we dated. Now that we're married, they drive me literally insane. And I feel like such a bad person. I don't want to feel this way, but I just do. What do I do about it? How do I reconcile? They're not going to change. Do I just have to live with this? Like, this is just my life? I hear you. Part of me would say, yeah, in this relationship, it is just part of your life. Okay? Now, if you're single, watch out for those things. Just be careful that you're honest with yourself and you don't let maybe the attraction, the chemistry, the connection that you might have with someone, the tickles in the tummy, don't let that override your logical brain. And take it from me, if you've been married before and then you got married again, or you had a bad breakup and you found someone that you're super compatible with, please make a comment below. Seriously, please make a comment below, sharing with the people that watch this video how important it is to pick right. Because for those of you that have been married before and then maybe you're in your second marriage or however that's come about, and you can attest to, oh my gosh, yeah, I, for whatever reason, I couldn't even get along with my husband for whatever reason. And we got divorced and I got remarried and oh my gosh, I found the love of my life. We get along like two little peas in a pod, yada, yada, yada. I hear that all the time. And again, I'm not a person in favor of divorce. I don't think divorce is always the answer. Sometimes it is, but it's not always the answer. Sometimes I think people do get divorced too quickly and for silly reasons. Again, no judgment on anybody. I mean, just because I don't believe in divorce doesn't, I mean, listen, I've been divorced. So I know how it is to be in a relationship that just is a struggle, and then to be in a relationship that was just so much easier. And granted, as a human, as a 54-year-old, just about to be 55 this month, dude, a middle-aged dude, I've changed so much from my 20s. I'm not even really the same dude that I was in my 20s. And so, you know, kudos to couples, man, that can get married in their 20s and go the distance. Like, that's just, like, seriously, my hat's off to you. Like, wow, I look up to those kind of people. I really do. I think it's just absolutely wonderful. It's magical. It's inspiring. It's encouraging. It's wonderful. I think it's so freaking cool. I really do. But But the reality is not all of us have done that. Not everybody married their high school sweetheart and it worked for their entire lives. Many people that got married in their 20s are now in their second marriage or even a third marriage for various reasons. Again, no judgment. It just is what it is. So what do you do to stay connected? Making sure all the things I just mentioned, the rituals of connection, making sure you're spending time together. But just also knowing, for those of you, let me just say this. Okay, for those of you watching this video, you're married and you're struggling. Okay, maybe you're struggling outwardly, you both know you're struggling, or maybe you are struggling inside, meaning you're frustrated with your partner, you're at the end of your rope, you just don't even know what to do. You just don't know what to do. I think there's only one thing you can do, and that's to be open and honest with your partner. Now, this might mean you need to go to counseling, to a therapist together, a relationship coach, and say, hey, I wanted accountability for the things that I want to say to my partner and how I'm feeling, how I'm receiving him or her, what I think is going on. I just want to get this out and then let them share their piece and work through it. A relationship can't work if you can't be fully honest. But also, in a relationship, if you're in a relationship with someone who's inflexible, meaning it doesn't matter what you say, they're not changing, gosh, I'm just going to tell you, that's a tough marriage to be in. That's a tough marriage to be in when someone has that superior mindset, like they're nearly perfect, they're right, you're wrong, how they see it is the correct way, and how you're seeing it is the incorrect way. So your thoughts and your ideas like are mute, right? All I can tell you is that's a tough situation, and I don't envy that situation. That would be so heartbreaking, so frustrating. And unfortunately, again, going back to some things I said at the beginning of this long video, loneliness can be felt even though you have people all around you, but you can be lonely. So you can be in a relationship where you're just missing each other. And loneliness in a relationship is, number one, statistically proven to be the number one reason people have affairs, commit infidelity or cheat, whatever you want to call it, betrayal. That's what leads them into that, because they feel hopeless and helpless. It's like I don't know what else to do, okay? And all I can tell you is that's not the road either, okay? Cheating is not the road. That's not going to help you. And if anything, that's going to hurt you, and it's definitely going to hurt your partner for sure, right? I mean, it's a cluster bomb that goes off. It's just very damaging. So before it gets to that stage, or if you are engaging in shenanigans, I'm going to tell you right now, get yourself to a counselor and start working on some stuff, because there is a better way. There is a better way. There just is a better way. And the better way is full, open honesty. And the open, honest might be, I don't think this is going to work. Like, that might be the open and honest answer. I think you should give your best effort to see if you can make it work 100%. I think that's the best bet, is to try everything you can to make it work. And if you can, great. But if you can't, you would do yourself and your partner a favor to just go, this just isn't working. I'm not happy. And clearly, if I'm not happy, how could you be truly happy? You need someone that will love you in the best way possible, in the way that you want to be loved. And I need that as well. This is what we both need. And if it can come from each other, make it happen. Like, make it happen if you can. But if you can't, then the next step, or the best thing you could do, would be to let each other go, do it amicably, and find the person that you're compatible with and enjoy your life. All right. Going back to the initial piece of this about how to grow together over the years, it's about being honest with each other and truly hearing each other. Don't deflect, don't defend. Don't, when they bring up a problem, you say, well, yeah, but you do this. Well, yeah, but you do this. And yeah, but you would. Okay, now I'm getting into other video content for this week. I want to unpack actually like a real argument, how a real argument could go one way, right? If I'm with the right person and I say this to them and they respond in kind and we work it out, it's beautiful. But have you ever said something to someone, it didn't matter how you said it, apparently it just didn't go right, and so they attack, and then that made you upset, and so you attacked, and that made them upset, and you attacked, and they attacked, and it just gets out of control, okay? But when you can say things in a certain way and they respond in kind in a similar way, again, this is why compatibility is so important. Why you should be compatible in lifestyle, compatible in communication style, compatible. The more compatible you are, the better the marriage will be. That's a statistic fact that the relationships that do the best over the long haul, like marriages that are 25, 35, 50 years together, it's compatibility. That's where the magic is. All right, peace.